special bonus episode of 20-second tips for home learning. In a regular episode, we usually discuss one little tip that can help you study from home. But for this bonus episode, I thought it would be fun to compile the top 10 of those tips that are perfect to help you study for exams. Let's get ready to study for finals!
20-second tips
for home learning.
The first thing you're going to need to do is create a solid set of notes to study from. You're going to want to have headings and subheadings and make sure there's lots of white space on the page so that things are very clear and organized. And you're also going to want to color code your notes. It's really hard to study when all your notes look the same. Yes, you can break things up by organizing sections, but they'll be even more clear if you color code them. Maybe everything to do with plants is green. Maybe everything that happened in a certain year in history is pink. Vocabulary words are blue. Studying from a rainbow will help you make associations with way less effort. Now that you have a beautiful set of study notes, it's time for the hard work to start. Pick your most difficult section and start there. Why? Because the longer you spend on something, the easier it's going to get. And since you're starting with the challenges, motivate with prizes! When you're alone in your room, it's easy to let your studying dissolve into one wishy-washy sea of blah. Don't forget to acknowledge your accomplishments. These successes can be anything you want them to be, whether it's getting a good mark or simply studying really hard for half an hour on a subject you find challenging. You know how hard you've worked, so don't let it go unnoticed. How do you go about learning these difficult sections? You're going to want to have a study buddy. One of the best ways to learn absolutely anything is to explain it to somebody else. So why not use this as a part of your studying process? While it's always nice to study with someone in your class, it's actually not imperative. If you regularly study with someone who doesn't know your course, you'll get in the habit of explaining things on a much deeper level than you would if you're studying with somebody who already knows what you're talking about. You're not always going to have someone around to help, and you're also going to want some way to be able to self-quiz yourself too. What's the best way to do that? Flashcards. While you may think you've graduated beyond those plastic-coated cards that taught you phonics as a kid, the flashcard system is one of the best ways to learn anything, especially if you have a course with tons of new vocabulary and specific concepts. Write one word or phrase on the front and fill out the back with point form information you need to know. Then test yourself from both sides of the cards, shuffling them often. It's so easy to just fall into the trap of studying until you're burnt out. But if you do that, you're kind of useless for the rest of the day. Take a lot of little breaks instead. And if you need some sort of a schedule or framework to help make that happen, try the Pomodoro technique. Step 1, turn off notifications on your phone. 2, set a timer for 25 minutes. 3, study really hard until the timer goes off. 4, after 25 minutes, take a short break. 5 minutes is perfect. 5, give yourself a check mark after each study session. 6, after 4 sessions, take a longer break, like 20 or 30 minutes. 7, repeat. In order to fit your work into the time constraints of the Pomodoro technique, you're also going to need to break large projects down into many baby, little tiny, minuscule baby projects. There's nothing more intimidating than starting that massive year-end project. To make things feel more doable, break down each assignment into a bunch of smaller tasks. You can even break those down into subsections if needed. If you design your schedule so that you can accomplish one or a few of these things in each work session, you'll feel like you're making progress and be more likely to stay motivated. Don't forget to break up your days with a variety of different things. Don't just take the same 5-minute water break over and over again. One of the best things you can do is, when the going gets tough, move! Some people will take any excuse to get up and move around. But if you're not a fitness fanatic, don't freak out. Movement doesn't have to mean formal exercise if that's daunting for you. Though it is highly recommended to work in genuine exercise into most days. For now, I'm just talking about adding movement into your studying. Look up from your computer and do 3 shoulder rolls. Get up, blast your favorite song, and dance around for 2 minutes. Moving around often will keep your blood flowing and your mind going. You can also break up the monotony if you find multiple places to study. It's easy for things to get boring when you're learning by yourself at the same table all day. Take advantage of the things that can be done not in your workspace. Maybe try a different chair or on the bed. Maybe even sit on the floor against a wall. A change of scenery is a fantastic way to refocus. Sometimes a different chair is the only thing standing between you and a breakthrough. Don't forget to use lots of different study methods too. One of the things you can try is to read things aloud. Silent reading is a completely visual learning process. Unless you're a purely visual learner, those muscles will get exhausted and bored. By reading things out loud, you're engaging your auditory learning skills because you're hearing the words, and you're also engaging your kinetic learning skills because you're physically saying the words. Using all three of these methods together can sometimes be the magic combo whenever your brain gets bored. Congratulations! You have made it to the day before your test, and you have up until now studied as hard as you possibly can and have memorized as many things as can possibly fit into your brain. So what do you do today? You go through your notes lightly, heavily go through your most difficult flashcards, if there still are some, and then sleep is essential. Sleep is so important because it's the time when your brain sorts out a lot of the things it learned that day. This is part of the reason why it's so important to start reviewing things early. A lot of memorization happens after you've already worked on it. So do yourself a favor and instead of staying up late to cram the night before your next big test, do your studying early and get a good night's sleep instead. A well-rested brain is much more alert than a tired one. I think after all that, I'm gonna need a nap too. But first, we have to give credit where credit is due. Check out all of the amazing people who have helped with this episode. Thank you so much. If you'd like to support this series, give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe, and check out my Ko-fi page link below. And if you want even more study tips, my blog and Insta are linked there as well.